Hello, students of Sociology 322. It is Thursday, April 30th, and this is the last lecture of the course. Of course, if you submit exam questions, I'll have one more video that I post up, but this is really the last kind of wrap-up lecture, especially for the topic we're doing this week on social activism and social movements connected with religion. Let me make a couple announcements before I go any further. First off, I have placed some instructions about the course evaluation. It's pretty easy to get to online. What you actually have to do though is go through Student Link. You have to actually log in to your Student Link account, and then there's like a page that lists courses, and in there'll be a link to an online evaluation. If you have any questions about how to get to that, you can just go to the D2L news section, and I have the details about how to get to that. Of course, at this point, we're looking forward to finishing up the class, or I should say looking ahead. We're probably looking forward to it also, so you can get on with your summer plans. Just a couple reminders: finish those online discussions. They're open 1 week from the day I posted them, so the one that was open today is open till next Thursday, so you've got a little leeway. And then the huge reminder, of course, is that the final is next Friday. Do not forget about that. There's that set time period window to take the final in. And again, it'll be very similar structure as the midterm, and you'll actually have 15 additional minutes than you did for the midterm. So hopefully for some of you that can really pay off in terms of your performance. Let's see, I have posted the quiz keys into one central news item on D2L. So any quizzes, all 4 quizzes we took in the course, I've put those keys up. You can help them in studying. I will not draw verbatim questions from the quizzes, but the quizzes should help you for some of the questions I actually do end up putting on the final. A couple of other quick things. If on the day of the final, heaven forbid, anything horrific happens instead of for example, like a D12 crashing or who knows what, you never know what'll happen, do call me. Don't wait around to the end of the day and that sort of thing. I have that protocol in the syllabus, but because it's the final, it's the last day. If things go horrifically wrong, you can call me. My number is on the syllabus. And then finally, I hope to grade the exams pretty quickly. They'll be done on Friday, and I actually hope to kind of grade those and get grades posted within about 5 or 6 days of that. So, by the time many of you are rolling into the summer or getting ready for graduation, hopefully grades should all be taken care of. If you have any exam questions for me, like I said, I'll be fairly unavailable after Friday, really. So after tomorrow, that's May 1st. You could try emailing me if I can get to a question while I'm on my research trip. I'll try to do that. And any questions that are emailed to me, if I do get a chance to get to it, I'll reply to the whole class so everybody can have the benefit of that. Okay, I think that's it for now. Just wanted to let you know I've immensely enjoyed this course. You all, as a group, have been quite impressive in your willingness, 1, to do the work, but 2, to actually do some kind of critical engagement with the work. I've actually learned throughout the course of this class, not just in terms of my teaching, but also in terms of thinking through some of the themes we've thought on. If nothing else, I hope you've got out of this course that religion is something that has not disappeared in the modern world, that it's an incredibly important part of thinking about the way society works, and that when we talk about religion, and when the press especially talks about religion, we now know to think of many different things, all sorts of things, from individuals to organizations, from ways that religion reforms society to ways that religion legitimates society. We've learned about different things like beliefs, practices, rituals, kind of a whole slew of things. So this makes you really more knowledgeable about religion in terms of a reflective and theoretical way than probably 98–99% of the adult population in the United States. So kind of keep that in mind, especially as you go forward and encounter related topics throughout the rest of your life. So again, I've enjoyed it quite a bit, and best of luck as you move on with your life. So today's lecture is on religion and social movements, which is actually one of my specialties of what my dissertation topic is on. And hopefully by this point in the course, I don't need to convince you too much that religion is an important component of many social movements, particularly in the United States. You can just think off the top of our head for a moment. The civil rights movement is kind of the classic example of religion being part of the movement, especially by an oppressed and discriminated and excluded group of people, African Americans, being a religion becoming a huge element of the assertion of their rights and then the successful organizing for rights, especially in the 1950s and 1960s. But we can think of other examples too of where religion connects with movements. If you think of the temperance movement of the teens in the 1920s, which led to prohibition, that was very much a religious movement in the terms of having strong kind of moral discourse rooted in kind of the mainstream Protestantism of that day, with organizing being done by ministers and also from churches and religious groups. We can think of the anti-slavery movement in the early 1800s, which was lodged deeply within the Quaker Church, and whose members became vocal leaders, published newspapers, would travel the country and talk to different religious groups. So clearly religion operates, if you will, in social movements in many different ways. What I want to suggest as I go through the different ways religion connects to social movements is that for the most part, people involved in social movements aren't quote-unquote using religion. It used to be that when we studied social movements, we oftentimes thought of their utilitarian versus their expressive purpose. So we might see something like religious ritual in a social movement and go, aha, that's just an expressive thing, kind of add-on. It's not core to the social movement. Now, in the lens that we look through, we say that no, as we've learned in this class, religion has a way of weaving through social life in many different ways. And so we kind of look for the particular ways that religion is involved in social movements. And I want to kind of go through a number of these for you. First, I want to talk about religion as organizational resource. I'll give you some examples. And then religion as what I call kind of historical network. Religion as motivator. And then religion as cultural resource. And these are all in terms of social movements in recent U.S. history. And then after I go through these, I'll say a bit about basically the social movement in our own backyard, the movement around immigrant rights and humanitarian aid to immigrants in the desert that's occurring in southern Arizona. So let me go through these first. In terms of organizational resource, there's a number of ways that religion operates as an organizational resource for social movements. For example, maybe the most obvious one is that religious groups gather people together. So it's literally a way for people to get together, to meet, and to do so on a regular basis at a regular place. An interesting example of this is during 1979 in Iran, when there was basically a dictatorial leader of that country known as the Shah. Religious groups were part of a wide array of groups that were agitating for kind of revolution and overthrowing of that government. And one of the interesting parts about that whole movement is that the government would repress groups. So they would assassinate people, kidnap people, torture people. And what was interesting was that in the Islamic tradition, there was then a very set period of mourning that then had a public funeral. And what happened leading up through that revolution is that an activist would be killed. There'd be a call for a funeral, which means that thousands of people would gather together. Which would then make it kind of this key moment to kind of mobilize people against the Shah and the dictatorship. And then inevitably the Shah would react again, violently repress some of these funeral gatherings. Somebody would die, and it would set the whole cycle going again. So that within a year you would have numerous cycles of these kind of religiously timed funerals, which each time that they happened had an effect of kind of gathering people together, spreading the word, and kind of recommitting people to the cause of revolution in that country. Another kind of key organizational resource, if you